Hey everyone, welcome back to the Olfactory Reel. I'm Narosh.
And I'm Cheeto, and this is episode 2. So what are we talking about today?
Yeah, it's been some time since we last talked. Both Cheeto and I have been kind of busy with different things, traveling and kind of being all over the place. But in the spirit of kind of being in the fall and winter time, right now it's October, right? First week of October. We're getting into that winter time. Here in San Francisco, it's actually weirdly super sunny.
It's like 80 something degrees sometimes. It's insane.
Yeah, the weather this week in particular has been really, really bad. So these aren't necessarily frags for this type of weather, but for this type of season and this type of time, these are the selections that we're kind of picking out from our own samples and stuff.
Yeah, so for many of you, the weather is definitely the right season for this type of fragrance.
Yeah.
And it's one of my favorite categories. It's something that I kind of neglected when I first started fragrance because when I first started with summertime, I thought I was always going to be a summer frag guy. But when fall time rolled around, I was like, okay, this is time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
maybe we can start from left to right.
Yeah. So why don't we cover how did we hear about the fragrance, where did we purchase it, and also for how much. So this is Guerlain L'Homme Ideal Extreme. It's like a fragrance that I had no idea. I blind bought it because I was sort of obsessed with Guerlain at the time. I learned that from these cool videos that they would alternate between like one summery fragrance and then one like sort of cooler weather fragrance with each release from this particular line.
Oh, okay, wow.
Yeah, and I was like, whoa, this sounds super sophisticated, and I had to try it. So I nabbed this off of Fragrance Buy at the time with a big haul because they have this great thing where if you buy 5 bottles, it's like you get free shipping.
For 5 bottles?
Yeah.
Jeez, okay.
Yeah. And some of them were actually pretty like affordable, like $20-$30 bottles.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was like, I think it was $90-something at the time. Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Over here we have Uomo Salvatore Ferragamo signature, and I actually heard about this from Cheeto. This is like him and I. We met actually like in September of last year, and it was a cooler time. And this is like one of his favorite ones that he was wearing. He actually told me explicitly like this is one of his favorites, top in the selection, and I loved it a lot. And so I was inspired by him. I actually didn't get this for myself though I had really, really liked it. My partner got it for me as a gift. And I think she even like talked to you specifically for a recommendation.
Yeah, it was like that sort of secret, like what should I get him? And
yeah.
I was like, oh, I know exactly which one.
Yeah. So we'll talk more about the specifics about this, but I think she bought it online though for about $60.
I think it was less, like 40 something at the time. Yeah, from Amazon.
Very, very inexpensive though.
Also amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And then this is also mine. It's actually recent buy. This is Lattafa Khamrah. This one's like all the rage, right? This is all over TikTok. A lot of people like really, really love this. And so I definitely got influenced from TikTok, hearing about like how this is very universal for both men and women. But definitely leans more towards kind of cooler times, I would say. And so that's kind of how I heard about it and got it from Amazon, $30 basically.
What a good price. That's insane.
Deal. Yeah.
All right. Next up, Bvlgari Man in Black. So this was also like a part of my sort of early craze. I love this, like the look of these bottles, and I was like,
oh yeah, this is like luxury looking, right?
Right. So it has a terrible atomizer, right? Like how I talked about last episode with the wood neroli. So I got the wood neroli wood essence, and I had the Man in Black right after. They're all the same like shape bottle basically. But I really like the idea of Spice Bomb. But like I always like that sort of like air of sophistication vibe to everything, and so I heard that this was the exact alternative to that.
Where'd you hear about that from?
It was like a lot of online research and like through Fragrantica, through YouTube as well.
Yeah.
But basically, people were like, if you like Spice Bomb and you want to try some booze in it, this is the one to go for.
Nice.
And this was like I think $80-something off Amazon at the time as well. So.
Nice.
Yeah, also part
kind of surprising how many like fragrances are on Amazon.
Right,
I actually didn't expect that. I would figure that most of them were actually be on like more of the fragrance websites,
right,
or getting it from in person. But it really sounds like
you can get some deals if you look. Yeah. Like sometimes don't do it, but sometimes like if you see the deal and the difference in price to like the other discounters like Joma Shop, just get it.
Totally.
And they have great customer service for if anything goes wrong.
Yeah.
All right.
And then I think the rest are basically all Cheetos. We got Tom Ford.
So this is Tom Ford's Noir Extreme. This is also a fragrance by. They had this big sale, or I think around this time last year, or maybe it was Black Friday actually. But like your cheapest one would be like 25% off or something like that. And so I was like, I wanted to try this, but I didn't know if I should go for this or the Parfum edition. And I heard about like Kulfi, and I was like, that sounds delicious, right? Which is we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll talk about that when we actually get to describing the fragrance. But basically, this was part of a blind buy. I didn't know which one to get, so I bought the two smaller sizes, both of the Extreme Original and also the Extreme Parfum. And
blind buy? This wasn't in person?
No, this was a blind buy.
Oh, okay.
It's also part of a fragrance buy haul.
Oh, okay, got it.
They have this perfect system down for just like making you buy a ton of stuff at once.
Jeez.
It's bad. But basically, I think this ended up being like after the discount, because it was the cheaper one of the few, it ended up being like $80-something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, after the lowest, like the cheapest one getting that discount.
Definitely don't typically find Tom Ford colognes at that price range.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they have like 3 sizes. It's like this one, the normal size, like 100, and then there's this like massive one as well that's like super tall.
Jeez.
Yeah. So
awesome. Let's jump to the next.
All right. And then finally, this is Praline and Maple from A Sense of Wood. I first smelled it randomly I think it was when I was with my cousin at Ministry of Scent. And I was like, whoa, that's one to look out for. So I got a sample of it.
Yeah, that's strong for sure.
Yeah, and I couldn't stop sniffing it basically. And when I was in New York with my parents, my mom was like, I want to get you a nice gift. And so she got this for me at at Scent Bar in Manhattan. And this was $240, so a bit on the pricier side, but man, look at that bottle. It's like a heart that's like made of like gold.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about it. It kind of look like the arteries in it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly, right? This is where Narosh's medical training comes. All right, sweet. So why don't we start back from the top, and we'll start describing the fragrances and our experiences with them to date. So, all right. Let's hit it.
You want to pause? Sure.
We can keep going.
All right.
I'll just cut this part out right now. All right, so for the L'Omédial Extreme, this is a plum, tobacco, and almond fragrance. I think that's the best 3 notes to describe it. And at first I smelled it, I was like, this is really like odd, right? It came in after a blind buy. And it was a big bottle, and I was like, oh man, what am I gonna do? But there's this like boozy touch to it, and like as I kept wearing it, I was like, this is actually really nice and sophisticated. That plummy tobacco, like almost like the slight suede note as well. It's my pick for a fall office fragrance because it doesn't scream. It's not too sweet, right? There's like some sort of more like older touches, I guess you could say, to kind of temper it, right? And so it's not too young. But yeah, it has enough freshness in there to give it some lift, but just super, super wearable.
It's a little, there's some mild floral in there too.
I'm not.
Tiny, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
But definitely I'm getting the plum.
Yeah, and the tobacco.
Oh, and the tobacco, yeah. I mean, I could easily see this being kind of unisex too, but it's good.
Yeah, for a little bit more, if you buy it from Guerlain, you can actually get it engraved with your name, which is what my Platine Privé bottle has. Oh, wow. It's completely free to engrave. So like if you just want to spend like MSRP on it, you have that option open to you. Also, like great bottle, great atomizer. It's just like such an attractive design.
Just Guerlain in general, right? Mm-hmm. Just the brand itself.
Aqua Lagoria, all those things.
Oh my God, they do a great job.
My mom loves them too. She has the Mandarin Basilic. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Sweet.
But yeah, like all those square bottles, you stack them all together, it just looks amazing. Yeah. All right.
Let's jump to Uomo Sig.
So tiramisu, right?
Just off the bat, it's a gourmand, right? Tiramisu is what immediately comes to mind. You just want to eat this up.
Yep, but it's also like quite dark with the coffee.
That's exactly what it is. Right? I was going to say dark and cool.
Yep.
And spicy, right? There's a little bit of spice in there, but it's a cool spice. It's a very cool spice.
Because like I was always curious, right? It's like this is a darker, more mature version, as people said, of the original Uomo, right? And that one was like the original like tiramisu note one.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's super interesting. Maybe that's more fun. That's like the one people say you take to the club, right? And I was like, oh, this is I finally found it at like a Ferragamo store in New Jersey when I was hanging out with my buddies last Christmas.
This is a Ferragamo store in Jersey? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or like there's quite a few of them, but this one was at a particular mall that we just happened to stumble by. I'm like, do you have Uomo?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, we do. But like every store before that I went to was like, we only have the signature. And I'm like, but I don't want to blind buy that one, right? Because I already have a tiramisu one. This is the one I got. And really good. Yeah, it's like that one was just too sweet. I think their bottle had also gone slightly off, possibly. So I was very, very happy with my choice because this sort of fits my vibe as well, being a little more subdued, not too sweet. And the dark coffee adds like a note of like bitterness that just gives it sort of sophistication on top of the tiramisu. Really, really great one.
Jumping into Lattafa Khamrah. This is actually a more recent purchase for me too.
So this one is actually a clone of by Kilian's Angel Share.
Yeah, some people say that, you know, but there's differing opinion on whether or not like Share is really that same limited.
It's not that close. It's not that close. Yeah, because I remember like so the presentation is very similar. That one's like the round, almost like rocks glass. This one they square.
The presentation I would say definitely very similar.
And so I'm pretty new to this one too. It's like my first like maybe like third time smelling it.
I would say that on the skin it's different than on this.
It's quite caramelly, right?
On this, you know, it comes off much sweeter on paper, but I will say on the skin, immediately the first projection that you're getting is a lot of that booze. It's super boozy, very spicy opening, but the dry down is honestly like very sweet, very apple pie is what it's giving, you know.
That's what it is. Yes. Because I remember, so Angel Share is based off of like an idea of like, I think when you're aging whiskey, part of it in the barrel like sort of goes into the air and like disappears from, so your volume actually decreases as you age the whiskey. And so it's called the Angel Share because the angels take it. Right, so the original fragrance is quite boozy.
Yeah, so it's sweet, it's boozy, but really that dry down is really where I think the money is at. You know what I mean? Ultimately, with any cologne or perfume that you get, you want to be rating it based on what the dry down is more so than what the initial projection top note is. Obviously, it also depends on what the brand is. Some brands are very linear, everything stays the same. I think more of the niche brands have that like, it's variable.
A lot of transitions, right?
Yeah, with time and with day, with temperature. But this one's really great. Really date heavy too. Like the fruit itself date.
It's like when you
cinnamon. It's cinnamon.
Exactly.
Dates, cinnamon, and it's sweet.
You know when you like break open that medjool date and it's like jammy on the inside? It's like that exact feeling right there.
Exactly. Yeah.
So when would you wear that one?
This one definitely on a colder day, man. I could see myself wearing this realistically, like for me personally, like I'll just wear colognes just cause. But for the people that are like more into, I think like a more of an occasional one.
You're more of like a seasonless guy, right?
Yeah. I think just because of the presentation itself, like I feel like it's like one of those like kind of wanted to wear it like going out. You know
a little fun, right?
Yeah.
It's sweet. Yeah, it's like
yeah.
And it's like this thing is beastly too, right?
Oh yeah, projection's insane.
It's insane.
Yeah. So definitely can wear this on a night out when it's cold, but more wholesome, not like clubbing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you guys are gonna go see the Christmas tree together type of thing, I would wear something like this.
Like if you're the type of guy to drink old fashions or something.
Oh, yeah, I can do that too.
Narosh doesn't drink.
No, that
Actually, we forgot to talk about the like the longevity and performance of these two guys. So why don't we just cover that real quick?
Sure.
This one's pretty decent. I'd say like pretty average performer, a couple hours, maybe like 4 to 8 hours.
For long.
Projection is pretty like intimate. I wouldn't say it's too strong, but it will leave a nice sillage. For the Man in Black. For the Uomo signature, it's actually really solid. Like whenever you wear it, it lasts like I could smell it the whole day on him, honestly.
Hours. For sure, 5+ hours for longevity too. And for the price point for something like this, right? You're paying $40 to $60 for something like this. It's like to be able to get that kind of longevity means something, right? With Khamrah also, this one's very interesting too. Like I would say, you know, the projection initially can be strong. I don't think it's overbearing though. Longevity wise, I think this actually spans probably more than 4 hours.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Like even this one, right? It's like you wouldn't expect it to last that long, but like even if it isn't projecting when you're standing still, like I could always smell the sillage off of you.
Oh yeah.
For like the entire day.
For sure. That's probably a good segment into going into our next one here.
Yeah. So for the Men in Black, right? the so-called more mature version of Spice Bomb Extreme with all the Christmas spices and added booze. So I do like to think that it is quite similar in a lot of aspects, but it's a lot drier. It's almost
Similar
like
to what? Oh, the spice.
yeah, Spice Bomb's a bit more like sweet, like young, you know, like something just like this one has like almost like this like you took a bunch of spices and you blitzed them. It's like a very dry liquor on top of it, so it doesn't have that like youthful like almost like glowing aspect, and it's just very like it's much more refined, much more.
I agree, and the booze is heavier on this for sure.
For sure.
And honestly, it's I get booze, I get leather, and I get spice. I would say those are the three things I put together. And this is something I'm thinking about getting my uncle, who's a working professional, kind of in the banking, wears suits every day. And this is sharp too. For something that's with this amount of like booze and spice, that sharpness pierces through. This is an important one for you, right? Like you wore it on a special occasion. That's right. Yeah. So Cheeto was there for when I asked my current partner to be my girlfriend. We planned it all out. It was a really fun thing. That's right. And I had a decant from him, right? So I didn't have this exact bottle. I think I had a decant of this and Uomo.
Yep.
And I asked my partner, you know, which do you like more, you know? And she said that she liked this one more.
And it was like perfect because it was at the Christmas tree too.
Exactly that. So. Yeah. Oh, so good. I really like this one.
Yeah. So Christmas spices with some booze, like infinitely wearable. To the office is fine. Also like to a Christmas party, like that's literally what I wore this to as well.
Oh yeah.
For my lab, and so it just like fits into that niche, just like that, you know.
But talk about the projection longevity on this one though.
So unfortunately, this one, like I think it's probably because of the dryness or something. It just doesn't last that long. I think there are some newer versions out there, like the Parfum, that have been said to fix that issue somewhat. Okay. But on me, like I always had to reapply this one.
Yeah. Another huge component with a lot of colognes too that everyone should be taking into account is the fact that like it's gonna smell different on everyone, right?
For sure.
On skin can smell different than on paper. But then there's the added component of on my skin versus your skin versus someone else's skin, right? For whatever reason, things can just project and kind of smell different.
Yeah, like I've noticed that actually from when me and my coworker tried a fragrance, the more like citric notes tend to be like more less apparent when your skin's drier. So he had drier skin, and that fragrance smelled darker.
I see.
And on me, it smelled way brighter.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, take everything with a grain of salt. I think ultimately, like, if you're able to smell these things in advance, you should, and on your skin as well. But ultimately, like, a lot of these things you can blind buy. Like, truly, like, Almost Sig is
that one
great blind buy.
It's so easily lovable, and it has this like almost it's like I would say it has this like weird like designer masculine touch to it.
Oh, it does.
I don't know what they used to achieve that, but like it has this mass appealing DNA despite being more gourmand.
Yeah.
And it's just like.
Honestly, it's underrated. I would say it's like it's not one of those like hype beast things that everyone knows about.
That's a dumb reach for me for sure.
Oh yeah. Okay, let's jump into Tom Ford, baby.
All right, so Tom Ford is always known for their ability to create very interesting fragrances with notes that you usually don't think about, right? I think ombre leather and Tuscan leather, and just like things that like they've treaded a lot of new ground, right? Like oud wood as well. And this one uses kulfi, which is I think is an Indian like ice cream. Yeah. It's like pistachio, like rose water. So it's quite a complex note list, but it's just like has this like spicy, like gourmand, but also lactonic, like milky aspect to it. I remember when I first showed you, and you're like, "Whoa, that's pretty weird, right?"
Yeah. It's very interesting though. Like
it's woody.
It has a little bit of leather in there, but you know what? For me, it's not I would say it's actually more of a cooler spice than warm.
Yeah. It's not like Bvlgari Man in Black, where it's like huge, like just blitzed spices in your nose. Like I think that milkiness. Spice. Yeah.
It has a bit of that cream, that cardamom.
I think that's what it is. I'm pretty sure.
This is beautiful.
Yeah, this one's incredible.
This is gourmand too.
Yeah. So this one's very intimate wearing.
Yeah.
But it lasts a long time. I remember like one time I got nose blind to it during a Christmas party. I was like, I kept layering it on, and I had no idea like how strong it had gotten.
Yeah.
And then finally I like that shirt, right? I went to iron it another day because I only wore it for like an hour, so I put it back in the closet. Like a month later, I took it back out. I ironed it, and that heat just like blasted into the air. Yeah, it was nuts. Wow. And it also has a flanker in the form of the Parfum, which comes in the fully gold bottle. A little bit tacky, but yeah. But that one's even more woody, even deeper. But in terms of versatility, this would be the pick for sure.
Nice.
Yeah. So pretty decent longevity, just not a lot of projection. It's quite intimate.
Great.
All right,
let's get to this last beast.
Yes. So this is my newest acquisition. So the Praline and Maple. If you've ever smelled, I think it was By the Fireplace from a replica from Maison Margiela. It's like that one smells like nutty and like you were like sitting next to a campfire all night, right? And you got that smell in your clothes. This one's like that if you just like pushed a lot of that smoke out and then went into the gourmand aspect. And it's a lot nuttier, so the praline as well, almost like that chocolatey aspect to it.
Nutty, chocolate, I would say woody for sure.
Mm-hmm. Oh, of course, yeah, sense of wood, right? So they totally nailed their name brand.
But then, you know what though, I will say though, I don't think this is mass appealing.
Yeah, I think the like the smokiness of the other one, the By the Fireplace, that one has that like nostalgic factor.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
And so people will be like, whoa, what is that, right? But this one, it's like it's a bit more, it's like leans heavily into the gourmand aspect. Yeah. And the sweetness, almost like the
sweetness
maple
is dialed down though. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? At least in this opening notes for sure.
It's like caramelly though, and it's like maple syrup.
Oh yeah, I think maple syrup is a great way to describe this. I would love to see what the dry down on this will be though, because open, it's not too sweet.
Yeah,
there is that hidden layer of syrup to it.
It is,
but I'm getting a lot of that wood, a little bit of the smokiness.
Yeah, the woody definitely tempers that sweetness.
Oh yeah, definitely agree.
But like, I smelled their whole line, whatever was available there at the time, and this one just stood out so much to me. Yeah, because I was like, wow, that's delicious, and I think this would be, even though it's not like as mass appealing as something like By the Fireplace, it's what I would wear like. Of all these, the more like dumb reach option if I wanted to go for a gourmand, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I'm sure everybody's heard of the Stronger With You line, the Intensely, the Absolutely. Yeah. That one's chestnutty. But this one, I think, leans more into niche like territory a little bit, but it's still like quite appealing, even though if it's not like as mass market appealing as Stronger With You.
Right.
But it helps you to stand apart a little bit from that Stronger With You type of DNA. Yeah.
And it's a solid buy. Yeah. That's the most expensive one on this table, though, right?
It is, yes. But I think it's also the hardest one to find at a discount. I remember there was, I should have got it at the time, but Mercari had it. Like someone had just sprayed a few sprays out of it. It was mostly full, and it was $175. Yeah. And I was like looking at it, and then finally, it got sold, and I was like,
oh man, yeah. But you know what though? Like again, to kind of wrap it all up too, like. This is our picks for kind of fall, winter time, more colder weather.
Yep.
Colognes, and ultimately the big kind of overarching note in all of these is some layer of spice, right?
Yep.
Some type of either warm or cool spice, regardless. Maybe some leather, maybe some tobacco, maybe some fruitiness to some of them, right?
Yes.
But ultimately, it's that warm spice that you really want to get when it's cold out.
Yeah, it pushes through the cold, basically.
Exactly. Yeah, and if anything, maybe it's like it's that smell that warms you in a way.
Exactly right. It's like a comforting aspect, right? If you put on something that's too wispy, it's like there's no substance to it. Yeah. It's great for the summer when there's a ton of heat.
Sure.
But sometimes you just want to have that like boldness and spiciness that gives you some oomph,
Totally.
Yeah, so
I think that about wraps everything up for us.
So yeah, why don't we just do a quick recap, right? We have things that we can wear in the office, some everyday stuff.
Yeah.
Right, and also let's see, some more
fun ones that you can just go out and wear too, realistically, right? Like
the sweeter stuff.
Yeah, the sweeter stuff. I think Lattafa Khamrah is a great one. You can just go out and have some fun with that. Uomo signature, very versatile. I think Guerlain and Tom Ford's one probably more office where I could definitely see that fitting. But again, very versatile with all of these.
Even these two, I feel like would totally work as well.
Office?
Yeah. The Uomo signature and the Man in Black.
Sure. And honestly, a lot of these are kind of not ridiculously priced, which I think is great, and hence why they're in our part of our collection as well. But yeah, I think this is fun. This is fun.
So thanks for joining us. We'll be cranking these out a lot faster from now on, and so hopefully we'll see you next week.
Yeah, or the other week. We'll see how time
we'll
stuff
see,
works out. Ideally, I think our goal is to probably do every week or every other week.
Yes, that's right.
But yeah, stay tuned for the next episode for sure, because we have some fun ideas to bring to the table.
Always brainstorming.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, and thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks for watching. Have a good one.
See ya.